Nia stood by the window, staring out at the night sky, her heart heavy with a sadness that seemed to settle deeper with each passing day. The decision to leave Jamal had been the hardest she'd ever made, yet she did it for her daughter, Amma. She wanted to protect their bond, but now she was left grappling with the consequences. The house felt emptier without Jamal's presence, and Nia struggled to fill the void that he left behind. The nights were the hardest. Nia would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment she spent with Jamal, wondering if she had made the right choice. She missed his warmth, his laughter, and the way he made her feel alive again after so many years of loneliness. But more than that, she missed the hope of a future together, a future she had now willingly let go of. Amma, on the other hand, began to notice the changes in her mother. Nia was quieter, more withdrawn, and there was a sadness in her eyes that Amma hadn't seen before. At first, Amma felt a sense of satisfaction, thinking that she had saved her mother from making a mistake. But as days turned into weeks, guilt started to creep in. She hadn't wanted to hurt her mother, she just wanted to keep her close, to not lose the only parent she had left. But now, seeing Nia's pain, Amma began to question whether she had been too selfish in her demands. One day, Nia decided to visit her late husband's grave, seeking solace in the one place where she felt she could speak her mind without judgment. She stood by the gravestone, tracing the letters of his name with her fingers, tears silently rolling down her cheeks. She spoke to him, as she often did, telling him about the turmoil in her heart. She asked for guidance, for a sign to help her understand what she should do next. The wind whispered through the trees, but no answers came. Only the overwhelming sense of loneliness that had been her constant companion since his death. Back at home, Amma tried to reach out to her mother, but their conversations were strained. The unspoken tension between them hung heavy in the air, making it hard for either of them to speak openly. Amma wanted to apologize, to tell Nia that she hadn't meant to cause her so much pain, but the words caught in her throat every time she tried. She didn't know how to bridge the gap she had unintentionally created between them. Nia, too, felt the distance growing between them, but she didn't know how to fix it. She had always put Amma first, and now she wondered if that had been the right thing to do. Had she sacrificed too much? Had she lost her chance at happiness for the sake of being a good mother? These thoughts plagued her day and night, making it hard for her to focus on anything else. As the days passed, Nia began to withdraw even further into herself. She stopped going out, stopped seeing friends, and spent most of her time at home, lost in her thoughts. Amma watched her mother fade away before her eyes and felt helpless to stop it. The guilt weighed heavier on her each day, until she could no longer bear it. She wanted to make things right, but she didn't know how. In the quiet of the night, as Nia lay awake once again, she realized that she couldn't go on like this. She needed to find a way to heal, to move forward, even if it meant letting go of the past. She decided that she needed to focus on herself for once, to find out who she was outside of being a mother, a widow, or a lover. It was time for her to discover her own identity, to figure out what she truly wanted from life. Amma, sensing the change in her mother, tried to support her in whatever way she could. She encouraged Nia to take up new hobbies, to go out and meet new people. Slowly, Nia started to come out of her shell, finding joy in little things like painting, gardening, and even cooking. It was a slow process, but Nia began to feel like she was reclaiming a part of herself that she had lost long ago. But the heartache of leaving Jamal still lingered. Every now and then, she would find herself thinking about him, wondering how he was doing, if he missed her as much as she missed him. She wanted to reach out, to see him again, but she held herself back, afraid of reopening old wounds. Instead, she poured her emotions into her art, creating paintings that spoke of her pain, her longing, and her journey towards healing. Amma, seeing the changes in her mother, felt a mixture of relief and sadness. She was glad that Nia was finding herself again, but she couldn't shake the guilt of knowing that she was the reason for her mother's heartache. She wanted to tell Nia that it was okay to love Jamal, that she didn't have to choose between him and her, but she didn't know how to start that conversation. One evening, as they sat together on the porch, watching the sunset, Amma finally found the courage to speak. She told Nia that she was sorry for the way she had acted, that she hadn't meant to hurt her. She confessed that she had been afraid of losing her mother to someone else, but now she realized that her actions had caused more harm than good. Nia listened quietly, her heart aching for her daughter. She reached out and took Amma's hand, squeezing it gently. She told Amma that she understood, that she had made the decision to leave Jamal because she loved her and didn't want to cause her any more pain. But she also admitted that she missed him, that letting him go had been one of the hardest things she had ever done. They sat in silence for a while, both of them lost in their thoughts. It was a moment of understanding, of unspoken forgiveness. They knew that things wouldn't be the same as before, but they were willing to try and rebuild their relationship, to find a new balance between love and family. Over time, Nia and Amma found a way to heal together. They talked more openly about their feelings, about the things that had hurt them, and the things that made them happy. They started to spend more time together, doing things they both enjoyed, like cooking, traveling, and even just sitting and talking for hours. The bond between them grew stronger, built on a foundation of love, trust, and mutual respect. Nia still thought about Jamal from time to time, but she knew that her decision had been the right one for her and her daughter. She had found peace in knowing that she had done what she needed to do to protect her family, and in doing so, she had also found herself. She was no longer just Nia, the widow or the mother. She was Nia, a woman who had found her own strength, her own voice, and her own path in life. The story of Nia, Amma, and Jamal was one of love, loss, and healing. It was a reminder that life is full of difficult choices, and sometimes the hardest ones are the ones that lead to the greatest growth. In the end, they all found their own way forward, learning to cherish the moments they had together and the lessons they had learned along the way. Nia's days had become busier, filled with community work and the comforting rhythm of her new routine. She found herself more engaged with the people around her, feeling a sense of purpose that had been missing for a long time. Her involvement in the local community had become an anchor, helping her navigate through the emotional storm she had endured after parting ways with Jamal. One afternoon, after wrapping up a community meeting, Nia received a message from Jamal. He had kept his distance after their separation, respecting her decision, but now he reached out with a simple, heartfelt message asking how she was doing. Nia stared at the message for a long time before replying. There was a mix of emotions, surprise, a twinge of pain, and an unexpected warmth that she hadn't felt in a while. After a brief pause, she decided to reply, her fingers typing out a response that felt both cautious and open. They agreed to meet for coffee, and as Nia approached the cafe, her heart raced with nervous anticipation. It had been months since they last saw each other, and she wasn't sure what to expect. As she stepped inside, she saw Jamal sitting by the window, his eyes lighting up when he spotted her. They exchanged a warm smile, and for a moment, it felt like no time had passed at all. They started with small talk, catching up on each other's lives, but soon the conversation grew deeper. Nia spoke about her community work, the fulfillment she found in helping others, and how it had given her a new perspective on life. Jamal listened intently, his respect for her evident in the way he leaned in, genuinely interested in everything she shared. When the conversation turned to their past, there was a shared sense of vulnerability. They talked about the pain of their separation, the lessons they learned, and the ways they had grown individually. Jamal admitted that he had missed her, but he also understood why she had needed space. He expressed his admiration for her strength, for choosing to focus on her relationship with Amma, and for finding her own path. Nia, in turn, acknowledged that she had missed him too, but she was grateful for the time apart, which had allowed her to rediscover herself. They both agreed that the break had been necessary, and now they were at a point where they could reconnect with a deeper understanding and mutual respect. Amma, seeing her mother's happiness, felt a sense of contentment she hadn't felt in a long time. She knew that her mother deserved to be happy, and she was glad that Nia had found someone who could bring that joy into her life. Amma also realized that she had grown through this experience, learning to navigate her own emotions and to let go of the fears that had once held her back. Nia's life had come full circle, from the depths of heartache to the heights of renewed love and connection. She knew that the journey wasn't over, that there would still be challenges to face and obstacles to overcome, but she was no longer afraid. She had found her strength, her voice, and her ability to love without losing herself. The story of Nia, Amma, and Jamal was one of rekindled connections and new beginnings. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the power of love and forgiveness, and to the beauty of second chances. As they continued to move forward, they did so with the knowledge that they had all grown and changed, but the love that bound them together had only become stronger. In the quiet moments, when Nia reflected on her journey, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons learned, the love regained, and the hope that had carried her through the darkest times. She knew that whatever the future held, she was ready to face it with an open heart, surrounded by the people she loved most. The warmth of the morning sun gently filtered through the windows, casting a soft golden hue across the room. Nia sat at the edge of her bed, her fingers tracing the patterns on the quilt that had been passed down through generations. She felt a sense of calm wash over her, a serenity that had eluded her for so long. The events of the past few months had been a whirlwind, filled with heartbreak, reconciliation, and growth. Now, standing at the threshold of a new chapter in her life, Nia felt a sense of clarity. Jamal had reached out to her a few weeks ago, cautiously testing the waters of their strained relationship. They had met for coffee at a small cafe in the heart of the city, a place that held memories of simpler times when their love had been young and unburdened by the complexities of life. As they sat across from each other, there was an unspoken understanding between them, an acknowledgement of the mistakes they had made and the desire to move forward with grace and patience. They spoke about the future, about their hopes and fears, and how they envisioned their lives together. Jamal had been the first to suggest that they take things slow, allowing time for healing and rebuilding trust. Nia had agreed, grateful for his consideration of her feelings and the newfound respect that permeated their conversation. They were no longer the same people who had once been swept up in the passion of their romance. They had grown, and with that growth came the realization that love required more than just emotion, it needed understanding, compromise, and patience. As Nia sipped her coffee, she glanced out of the window, watching the people passing by. She felt a sense of contentment, a quiet joy in knowing that she and Jamal were on the same page. There was no rush, no pressure to define their relationship or set expectations. For the first time in a long while, Nia felt in control of her life and her emotions. In the days that followed, Nia immersed herself in her community work, finding solace in the connections she made and the impact she had on the lives of others. Her work had always been a source of fulfillment, but now it took on a deeper meaning. It was not just about helping others, it was about healing herself, too. The smiles she saw, the gratitude she received, and the sense of purpose she felt all contributed to the inner peace she was cultivating. Amma had noticed the change in her mother. The once distant and preoccupied woman was now more present, more engaged in her surroundings. Nia's laughter, once a rare sound, now filled the house with warmth. Amma observed these changes with a mix of emotions, happiness for her mother, but also a twinge of guilt for the role she had played in driving a wedge between Nia and Jamal. Amma had always been protective of her mother, fearing that any new relationship would take her away from the memory of her late father. But seeing Nia so alive, so full of purpose, Amma began to realize that her mother's happiness was not something to be guarded but something to be celebrated. She saw the strength in Nia's eyes, the resilience that had carried her through the darkest of times, and Amma knew that it was time to let go of her fears. One afternoon, as Nia was preparing for a community event, Amma approached her with a hesitant smile. "Mom, can I join you today?" she asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Nia looked up from her work, surprised but pleased. "Of course, Amma. I'd love for you to be there." The event was a gathering of women from the community, a celebration of their achievements and a platform to discuss the challenges they faced. Nia had organized the event with the aim of empowering these women, providing them with the support and resources they needed to thrive. As she and Amma arrived at the venue, Nia felt a sense of pride in the work she had done and the impact she was making. Amma watched her mother as she moved through the crowd, greeting everyone with warmth and genuine interest. It was a side of Nia that Amma had not fully appreciated before, the compassion, the leadership, and the ability to inspire others. As the event progressed, Amma found herself drawn into the conversations, listening to the stories of these women and learning from their experiences. By the end of the day, Amma felt a sense of connection with her mother that she hadn't felt in a long time. They had always been close, but this was different. It was a bond forged through shared purpose and mutual respect. As they left the event, Amma turned to Nia and said, "I'm proud of you, Mom. You're doing something truly amazing." Nia smiled, her heart swelling with emotion. "Thank you, Amma. It means a lot to hear that from you." The days turned into weeks, and the bond between Nia and Amma continued to strengthen. They spent more time together, not just as mother and daughter, but as friends and allies. Nia found joy in sharing her world with Amma, and Amma, in turn, began to see the value in her mother's work and the positive influence it had on their lives. Meanwhile, Jamal had been patient, giving Nia and Amma the space they needed to heal and grow together. He and Nia continued to see each other, their relationship evolving at a steady, unhurried pace. They shared meals, went on walks, and attended community events together, all the while building a foundation of trust and mutual respect. One weekend, Nia suggested a family outing, a day trip to the nearby botanical gardens. She had always loved the tranquility of the gardens, the way the vibrant colors of the flowers contrasted with the deep greens of the trees. It was a place where she could lose herself in nature and find peace. Amma was hesitant at first, unsure of how she would feel about spending the day with both her mother and Jamal. But Nia's enthusiasm was contagious, and Amma agreed to join them. The day turned out to be one of laughter and joy, filled with the simple pleasures of being together. They wandered through the gardens, admiring the beauty of the flowers and the serenity of the ponds. Nia and Jamal shared stories and memories, their laughter blending harmoniously with the sounds of nature. Amma watched them, her heart softening with each passing moment. She saw the way Jamal looked at her mother, with admiration, respect, and a deep affection that was impossible to ignore. It was clear to Amma that Jamal genuinely cared for Nia, and more importantly, he respected the bond between mother and daughter. As the sun began to set, casting a warm, golden light over the gardens, they found a spot by the pond to sit and enjoy the tranquility of the evening. Nia sat between Jamal and Amma, feeling a sense of contentment she hadn't experienced in a long time. She looked at the two people she loved most in the world and knew that they were on the path to becoming a family, a new, unconventional family, but a family nonetheless. Jamal reached out and took Nia's hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. She turned to him, her eyes reflecting the happiness she felt in that moment. Amma, sitting on Nia's other side, noticed the gesture and smiled. It was a small, simple act, but it spoke volumes about the progress they had all made. As they sat together, watching the sky change colors with the setting sun, there was a sense of unity and togetherness that had been absent for so long. It was a new beginning for all of them, a new dawn, full of promise and potential. The weeks that followed were filled with moments of joy and discovery. Nia continued her work in the community, with Amma by her side more often than not. They became a team, working together to make a difference in the lives of those around them. Jamal, too, became more involved, offering his support and expertise whenever needed. The bond between Nia, Jamal, and Amma grew stronger with each passing day. They found a rhythm in their relationship, a balance that allowed them to be themselves while still nurturing the connections that were so important to them. There were challenges, of course, moments of doubt and insecurity, but they faced them together, knowing that they had each other to lean on. As the months passed, Nia felt a sense of fulfillment that she had never known before. Her life was rich with love, purpose, and a deep sense of belonging. She had found a way to honor the memory of her late husband while also embracing the new love she had found with Jamal. She had built a life that was full of meaning, and she knew that the future held even more promise. One evening, as they sat together in Nia's living room, sipping tea and chatting about their day, Jamal turned to Nia and said, "I've been thinking a lot about our future." Nia looked at him, her heart skipping a beat. "What about it?" Jamal smiled, his eyes warm and full of affection. "I want to build a life with you, Nia. I want us to continue growing together, facing whatever challenges come our way. But I also want to make sure we do it at a pace that's right for all of us." Nia felt a surge of emotion. "I want that too, Jamal. I want us to be happy, to support each other, and to create a life that's full of love and joy." Amma, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. "I want that for both of you too. I've seen how happy you make each other, and I know that whatever the future holds, we'll face it together." Nia reached out and took both Jamal and Amma's hands, holding them tightly. "We're a team," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We'll take things one step at a time, and we'll make sure that we're all comfortable with the pace. We've come so far already, and I know we can do this." Jamal and Amma both nodded, their expressions filled with love and agreement. In that moment, Nia knew that they were on the right path. They had faced their fears, their insecurities, and their doubts, and they had come out stronger on the other side. The journey ahead was still unknown, but Nia felt a deep sense of optimism. They had built a foundation of trust, respect, and love, and she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As they sat there, holding hands and sharing a quiet moment of connection, Nia felt a sense of peace settle over her. The future was bright, and she was ready to embrace it with open arms. She knew that there would be ups and downs, but with Jamal and Amma by her side, she felt confident that they could handle anything that came their way. The night stretched on, and eventually, they all retired to bed, each of them filled with thoughts of the future. Nia lay awake for a while, thinking about the journey they had been on and the new chapter that lay ahead. She felt a sense of gratitude for the love and support that had brought them to this point, and she knew that the best was yet to come. As she drifted off to sleep, Nia felt a deep sense of contentment. The road had been long and sometimes difficult, but they had made it through. They had found their way back to each other, and now they were ready to face the future together. The dawn of a new day was just beginning, and Nia knew that it was going to be a beautiful one. The days continued to pass, each one bringing new experiences and deepening the bond between Nia, Jamal, and Amma. They navigated their lives with a sense of purpose, knowing that they had each other to rely on. Their relationship had become a source of strength, a foundation that allowed them to explore new possibilities while staying grounded in the love and respect they had cultivated. Nia's community work flourished, with Jamal and Amma often joining her in her efforts to uplift and empower those around them. Together, they created programs that addressed the needs of their community, providing resources, education, and support to those who needed it most. Their work brought them closer, allowing them to share in the joy of making a difference in the lives of others. One afternoon, as they were wrapping up a community event, Jamal pulled Nia aside. "I've been thinking," he said, his voice thoughtful. "What if we expanded our efforts? We've been doing great work here, but there's so much more we could do." Nia looked at him, intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" Jamal smiled, his eyes shining with excitement. "I've been researching ways to create sustainable programs that can have a long-lasting impact. I think we could collaborate with other organizations, maybe even start our own foundation." Nia felt a surge of excitement at the idea. "That sounds amazing, Jamal. I've always wanted to do something bigger, something that could create real change." Amma, who had been listening in, joined the conversation. "I think it's a wonderful idea. We've seen how much good we can do, and I believe we have the ability to make an even greater impact." The three of them spent the next few weeks brainstorming and planning, coming up with ideas for how they could expand their work and reach more people. They met with other community leaders, collaborated with local businesses, and began laying the groundwork for their new venture. As they worked together, Nia and Jamal's relationship continued to deepen. They had found a rhythm that worked for them, a balance between their personal and professional lives that allowed them to support each other fully. There was no rush, no pressure to move faster than they were comfortable with. Instead, they focused on building a strong foundation, knowing that their future together was something they could shape at their own pace. One evening, after a particularly productive meeting, Nia and Jamal found themselves alone in Nia's living room. Amma had gone to bed early, and the house was quiet, the only sound the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. Nia sat down on the couch, feeling a sense of contentment wash over her. Jamal joined her, sitting close enough that their shoulders touched. They sat in comfortable silence for a few moments, both lost in their thoughts. Finally, Jamal spoke, his voice soft and filled with emotion. "Nia, I can't tell you how much this means to me. Being able to work with you, to share this journey with you, it's everything I've ever wanted." Nia turned to him, her eyes reflecting the same depth of emotion. "I feel the same way, Jamal. I never imagined that we would find our way back to each other like this, but now that we have, I can't imagine my life without you." Jamal reached out and took her hand, his grip firm yet gentle. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Nia. I know we agreed to take things slow, and I'm still committed to that. But I also want you to know how much I love you, and how much I'm looking forward to our future together." Nia felt tears well up in her eyes, but they were tears of happiness. She squeezed his hand, her heart full. "I love you too, Jamal. And I'm so grateful for the life we're building together." They sat there for a while longer, holding hands and sharing in the quiet joy of the moment. It was a simple, yet profound connection, one that spoke to the depth of their love and the strength of their bond. As the night wore on, they eventually said their goodbyes, with Jamal promising to call her the next day. Nia watched him leave, feeling a sense of contentment and peace that she hadn't felt in a long time. The days continued to pass, and their lives continued to evolve in ways they had never expected. They faced challenges, of course, moments of doubt and uncertainty, but they faced them together, knowing that they had each other to rely on. Their community work grew, reaching more people and creating a positive impact that rippled through their neighborhood. They celebrated their successes, learned from their setbacks, and continued to push forward with a sense of purpose and determination. Nia, Jamal, and Amma became a team, a family in every sense of the word. They supported each other, lifted each other up, and shared in the joy of their shared journey. They found strength in their unity, knowing that together they could face anything that came their way. As the months turned into years, they continued to build a life filled with love, purpose, and fulfillment. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and they found joy in the simple pleasures of being together. Nia had found her way back to herself, and in doing so, she had created a life that was rich with meaning and filled with love. She had rekindled her relationship with Jamal, deepened her connection with Amma, and built a future that was full of promise and potential. As she looked back on the journey that had brought them to this point, Nia felt a deep sense of gratitude for the love and support that had carried them through. She knew that the road ahead would have its challenges, but she also knew that they would face them together, with love, patience, and a commitment to each other that would see them through anything. The new dawn that had begun to rise on that fateful day had turned into a beautiful, radiant light that illuminated their lives. And as they continued to walk this path together, Nia knew that the future was bright, and that they were ready to embrace it with open hearts and open arms.